Say, welcome to Voice of Heaven, the sanctuary where leaders breathe again. And I'm super honored to have you here. Here we honor the hidden emotional labor of leaders, the pressure, the identity shift, that affects a lot of them, the quiet battles behind their bold decisions, and we call every leader back to their inner clarity, curiosity, and courage. And today we are joined by an extraordinary voice in the global leadership development, Ernesto Gómez, a well-seasoned transformational leader, be it in organizations, be it as individuals. You will have him here and he's ready to pour into us. We're not going to take your time. We have a few minutes just to, hear and learn from him. And he's a seasoned executive with over 30 years in organizational transformation. Enesto is the author of Regrowth, a wonderful book that I would love every one of you to have. Because from this book, there is great transformation happening from this book. And this book I've actually picked some few things just going online to check it out. And I'm super happy for that. And so this seasoned, wonderful personality is a powerful person in this aspect of life to unlock your potential as a person and also to help you in renewing culture. A lot of people have issues with culture and reviving growth, where stagnation once lived. And so his work actually reminds me of the real leader, where real leadership begins. And that is, it begins from you as a person, not the organization, not the building you are working in, but it begins from you. And one wonderful work he's doing is to remind us of the fact that real leadership brings this consciousness and clarity that it is not in directing others, but in directing yourself as a person. And so I would really love you to welcome with me Ernesto Gómez to Voice of Heaven. And we're honored to have you lead, us, and we're honored to learn from you. So thank you so much for having us. So I would like you to do a brief introduction of who you are. When someone wants to say something about you, what do you want them to know? What is that tagline you want them to give you? Thank you. Over to you, Gómez.
Thank you very much, Omobolaji. It's my pleasure to be here. I'm calling from literally the other side of the world. I'm based in Monterrey, Mexico. So it's a really long way from where you are. But it is a pleasure and it's an honor to be in your podcast. Well, in a nutshell, I'm a person who started as an entrepreneur myself for 15 years. I run businesses in Mexico and in the US. And for a long time, I had to face, the challenges and the shortcomings of the entrepreneurial life. Then I moved into a corporate position. And for about 23 years, I was in charge of transformation of businesses, organizations throughout the world. At some point in time, I was the CHRO for a large corporation here in Mexico with over 80,000 employees in 32 countries back in the day. So I've been witness of, the endeavors that it's just the small teams working together, trying to prove a point and earn a customer. And then, of course, the corporate life with thousands and thousands of people where transformation, it's a whole new arena because it's for its reach and the complexity. So that's in a nutshell, that's my experience. I was first drawn to business, as I say, as a business person, and then in charge of many divisions and categories and businesses. One of them, the largest, was a business that had $1.3 billion in revenues. So it was a large business. And then I was asked to move to a staff position to help the transformation take place. So that's in a nutshell who I am. And I loved how you started this conversation about leadership, because leadership, it's always an inside out endeavor. It comes from within and then expresses out. And the important thing about that is that you have to bring your best out of yourself. And you have to help others bring the best out of themselves
Sounds
so that together you can transform and make things happen.
exactly.
At some point in time, leadership is known to be like, this is the rules. I'm going to push the team. I'm going to make things happen because I just want to, like a drill sergeant, push, 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 and push and get results. But that's really the short-term vision. And that leads to eventually. Real leadership takes place when you start from within, and instead of pushing, you start pulling
Sure.
people. So that's kind of an overview of what I'm interested in.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I would like to know, can you share with us for a moment um, how you transitioned from simply leading others to intentionally leading yourself? What shifted inside of you?
When I wrote the book, Regrowth, the one that you were saying, I was
Okay.
interested in, portraying how to design change at scale in an organization. So
Yeah.
I wrote that book with that intention. And then I realized when I finished, what I was intending to do, that I had something left in me that I wanted to talk about, which was how to self-lead lead a person. So,
Yeah.
talking about, a large transformation, but what happens when you look within yourself and start trying to self lead towards a transformation? And I did a lot of soul search, and I found that I've been through 8 transformations in my life,
Wow.
relevant, important transformations. And
Huh.
by transformation, I mean all of a sudden you're facing with a situation. It might be a problem, a crisis, something that requires you to do something different, which is not what you're used to do. So you have to self lead yourself through a different scenario.
Yes.
So I noticed which were the breaking points for that to happen. And then I examined my life and say, what if I, based on my experience, present a framework that helps in going through that transformation. And that's what I did in that last chapter. Design this framework that help me and hopefully will help others to face a transformation when they are required to. Just to give you an example, without having any background, I was, as I mentioned to you, involved 100% in business. The CEO of this large corporation asked me to take over the CHRO position. I have to say, no experience whatsoever in my case. And we had a really, really tough succession problem because about 120, 130 positions, key positions in the company need to be filled because many people were going to retire. So we had to really, really go into a very important change. And we didn't have a lot of time. We had only 2 to 3 years to make that happen,
Make the change.
make the change.
Yeah.
So where do I start? What
Yeah.
do I do? Right? And to make things worse, in my heart, I didn't feel, and I wasn't an HR person. So I was frustrated. I was even scared. And I said to myself, you know what, Ernesto, you made a big mistake accepting this position because you are not prepared to take over this high responsibility. But instead of, getting into this victimization and frustration, I I asked myself, well, what if I, instead of assuming this position an expert of HR that I am not, what if I face this challenge with a different identity?
Yeah.
And to myself, well, what if I am the vice president of innovation in charge of HR? So why don't I adopt this mindset of being an innovator? And then the field of work is going to be HR. So by switching that frame, by taking a different perspective, I say, well, I know innovation. I've been there. I know that. So I assume the position from that standpoint. And my aspiration changed, my tools changed, my reality changed, and I was able to take over the position. And of course, we accomplished the goal. But just to let you know that when you lay out and when you're facing a challenge, we are never fully prepared for the things that life brings to us, especially
Very,
this.
very true.
So the first thing you have to understand is what is your identity,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
from what standpoint you're gonna embrace or tackle that challenge, and make it, make the transformation happen. I don't know
Yeah.
if I answered your question, but that's what I did.
Yes. Yes. Because at a point you had the mind shift so that something new would come out. You had to birth something new with the mind shift. And I'm so happy for that. And at Voice of Haven, we say speak to the child in every leader. That's what we are keen on. And so, where does childlike courage, creativity, and emotional honesty fit in executive leadership today?
I believe that as technology advances and we are in the middle of a technology wave,
Yeah,
we need to go back to the basics of humanity,
true.
of and in diving within ourselves, we need to be able to be comfortable with ourselves, with
Yes.
what constitute ourselves.
Mhm.
And that is based on humility, that is based on ingenuity, that
Yeah,
is based on finding what is that deep core that defines your essential qualities.
yeah,
You were talking about uh, the child and the human person that we all are. Be, Before we are workers, we are persons. Uh, I always say this, when you arrive to the office or to the plant or to a distribution center in the morning, let's say that you're the first person to arrive and you open the doors and you're waiting for your colleagues to start the job.
yeah.
What you see, it's an empty space. You see chairs, you see tables, you see boards. Uh, that's not the company.
No,
The company starts when people arrive.
yeah,
When people arrive, all of a sudden, what you see, it's the secret sauce that
true.
makes things happen, which is people. We
Exactly.
are triggered to think about products and capabilities in business, which is fine.
Yeah,
We need products and capabilities. And we take for granted that behind those products and capabilities that we need, to earn customers, we take for granted who is behind that. And there's always people. Without people, the ingenuity, the creativity, the humbleness, the curiosity, which is also a childlike trait, uh, there is nothing really to evolve and change. If we are going just to repeat things, machines are going to do a better job than us. Actually, AI is redefining what the skill set for the future needs to be.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
it will never substitute, in my opinion, it's how to inspire a team,
Very true. Very
how
true.
to move forward the soul of your people. Napoleon used to say that a soldier never risks his or her life just for the paycheck.
True.
They're
True.
willing to risk it up, even to die for an ideal.
Yes.
And you have to speak to the soul of a person in
Yeah.
order to connect with that ideal. And I think that it's a radical concept, word related, but applies in the business world today. We need to, and I'm writing a second book about this, by the way,
Oh,
and
wow.
I start by saying that you have to speak to the soul, not to the role.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you have a team and you have a group of people, if you connect with the soul
The soul. Hmm.
of, of others, then you have the power to unleash unlimited energy that is
Very
waiting
true.
to. Uh, and yes, we're going to have a complement with AI and with mechanization, and we're going to get repetitive tasks done. That's for sure. But we cannot substitute that ingenuity and that foresight that we need from people.
Wow. Wow. I like the fact that you're able to talk about innovation, creativity, and curiosity from the child within you. That it brings out that child within you, and that is your soul that you are talking about. And from all this, one thing that pulls me close, to wanting to speak to the child in every leader so as to be able to break through when they have burnout, when they have mind shifts, and so many other things. One thing that pulls me close is a key question that I try to answer within me, and that is, how can you stay? What are those habits that would help you stay grounded? It will help you to be self-aware and to be aligned while leading at a high level. Because when you look at the way you just expressed it, it brings out that wholesomeness that we are actually looking out for in every individual. And so, what are those key habits that would help us? You could just, in like 2 minutes, just, you know, express that to us. What are those key habits that could help us mentally, those mental habits that would really help?
First of all, we have to understand that we are always in automatic pilot, right? We are
True.
reactive by nature, and this is because we have challenges. We are task oriented. We
Yeah.
have a problem. We focus on the problem and start
Mhm.
solving the problem right away, which it's a way or has been a way to do the things that we know how to do. But if one thing we have learned in this day and age is that challenges are quite different, and oftentimes we don't know how to face them.
Yeah.
So what we have to do is to break that cycle of automatic pilot and learn how to go from the micro to the macro and take perspective. So you have to step, 2 steps out and
Okay.
and and, and try to look at the situation like if it was the first time.
Yeah.
So what is that I'm facing here? And that assessment is, what is happening? That why my formula and my old solution is not really working anymore. To do that, you have to learn to detach from the problem. And it's like kind of making a difference or establishing a difference between the task, what is everybody's doing, and what really serves your interest and your purpose and your intentions.
True.
Because again, just keep on doing the same thing is not really gonna bring us anything different and new. So I would encourage us first to be able to step back and try to see the system and say, well, why am I doing this? Is there a better way to do it? Uh, how can I probably tackle this in a different manner that I have been doing? So once you take that position, you ask why, how, what, and you understand that. The other thing that you have to really be and accept is that you have to be humble. Uh, you don't have all the answers. You don't have to have all the answers. There are people in the team or around you that may be able to have a better opinion than yours. So avoid an ego posture.
Yeah.
So ego really serves us to survive, but it's not really the very best advisor to solve problems. Because what we do is we take a position where, I'm a know-it-all. I've been here for a long time. I'm the leader. I'm the highest paid person in the room, and I'm supposed to know. I'm not. I'm not weak. I'm strong. But that is exactly what it doesn't work when innovating in creativity and discovering, because you have to be able to fail. You have to be able to you have to be courageous, but at the same time, humble enough to understand that, you're going to make mistakes. People are going to make mistakes, and it's fine. So I would say being able to detach from the problem and then taking a humble attitude towards
Yes.
exploring the solution that helps solve the problem best.
Wow, wow. I really love what you said. You being able to detach yourself from that problem. And when you detach yourself from the problem, you're able to see deeper and better what you were not seeing when the problem came. And so awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for that. Now, in 2 minutes, please, I would like you to answer this final question. In regrowth, you talked about unlocking potentials to revive momentum. What inner commitment must every leader make to avoid stagnation and lead themselves into their next level?
You know, Omobolaji, if I were to ask you, out of the potential that you know you have, you know yourself very well, right? And you know
Yes.
you're capable of many things. What percentage of the potential that you think you have are you redeeming? You
Mm,
think you are at the 100% of you can do, or there is room for you still to grow?
mm.
What would be your answer to that question? Are you at your 60%, 70%, 50%? Where do you place yourself?
Well, for me, I'll place myself in that position whereby there's still room to grow. I
Yeah,
wouldn't give myself that conclusion because I might be assuming and getting it wrong. So I would give myself that position of room to grow.
exactly. And I've asked these questions to many CEOs and leaders. And I asked them first, what percentage of the people that report to you do you think they're redeeming? I mean, actual potential versus future potential. And the answer that I've gotten the most is 50 or 60%, meaning they think that people are capable of much more than they are doing. And the following question is why? Why do you think they're not doing the best they can? And it always has to do with, you know, systems, procedures, politics, bureaucracy, things like that. So the answer to that question that you posed to me is to realize that us, you and me and the people around us have potential that has not been redeemed.
Yeah,
And it's not only morally wrong, it's a waste of resources not to create the conditions for those people to achieve that potential. Because if you do that, imagine that there is 20 or 30% still for them to grow before competing in the market, before facing governments and regulations. You can do so much just by connecting with your people and
exactly.
helping them reach that potential. So why don't we start there?
Yeah, yeah. Very true, very true. Thank you so much. You have really enlightened this conversation, being the maiden, the first, very first one. I'm so and super happy that you were the one I picked. And I'm super
Oh,
glad that you brought in that life I actually want. And you've reminded us that leadership is not only about strength. Mm-mm. It's not about strength, but it's about the awareness, renewal, and returning to creative, courageous child, inside, which we once believed in. We had this belief of anything and everything is possible. And so, to our listeners, I want you to remember something wonderful. You cannot lead outward until you lead inward. And that is key. Learn to be humble. Learn to honor the inner world. Honor your soul. Live with curiosity like a child. Then grow with intention. Be innovative. Be creative. Come outside of the box and do something wonderful. And even if you decide to stay in the box, know that that box has more other potentials in it that you can make use of. This is Voice of Heaven, where leaders breathe again. Until next time, keep evolving, keep becoming, and keep leading from within. Thank you so much, Ernesto Gómez. I'm super proud to have you here. I'm
it
super
was my
proud.
pleasure.
Thank you
Thank you for
so
inviting me.
much.